Get these for you. Well, my fingers do. Space Giraffe, Dramatic Pause, what? In your pants. How is your day, Wilma? Well, I'm glad I asked. It all started with a craving for pie. I know you're like, oh, well, Wilma, if you had a craving for pie, why wouldn't you just go to the bakery and buy a pie? Well, it's not that bloody easy now, is it? No! Have you ever been to a bakery? I am not a connoisseur of pies. I didn't even know what kind of pie I wanted. I didn't know if I wanted a strawberry rhubarb pie. Perhaps I was craving some sort of chocolate creme pie. Mayhaps even lemon meringue pie. Ah, lemon meringue pie. Just thinking about it takes me back to my youth. To a time when I was but a wee lass growing up in the old country. And my grandmother, a good woman, lovely, yes, lovely. My grandmother made the best lemon meringue pie on this world or 3 other worlds in which you will never visit, so I'm not really sure why I brought them up. And one day I was wrapped up in the rebellion of youth, naughty, yes. My grandmother said to me, she said, if you don't calm down, you can't have any lemon meringue pie. Well, that went over like a fart in church now, didn't it? And I started to stomp my feet, and I clenched my fist and shook it in a manner that I felt conveyed rage. I said to my grandmother, I said, I don't want any of your stupid, dirty, ugly, smelly, dirty, ugly, fat, stupid lemon meringue pie. And my dear, sweet grandmother, she knelt down before me, placed her hand upon my shoulder, and with a heavy sigh she said, that was way too many adjectives. Now wasn't it? And I did not want to make the same mistake in front of a man who makes his living baking baked goods. The last thing I need to have happen in my life is to be standing in front of a wide variety of pies with a man judging me while I have an anxiety attack, wet myself a little, and end up sitting at home with a dozen cupcakes. Bollocks! Simplify, friendos. The grocery store. Well, not a. Well, it's certainly never going to get 5 stars on Yelp for having a substantial bakery. But it does have a fold-up card table that doubles as a bakery. So off I went to the grocery store, only I didn't. Because it was not the proper time. Courtesy, friendos. We are to allow the elderly adequate time to shop. And I gave them that time. And I regret having given them that time. For when I got to the grocery store, and I went to the fold-up card table that doubles as a bakery, what did I see but a severe lack of pies? So I went and found a grocer clerk, and I tapped them on the shoulder, and when they turned around, I inquired, what the dickens, Charles? He looked at his name tag, and he said, my name's Greg, and I said, what the dickens, Greg? You have no pie. And Greg, being the elitist bastard that he is, walked over to the fold-up card table that doubled as a bakery to prove me wrong. And he began to rummage through the selection of tarts, of danishes, of eclairs, as if perhaps one of the pies was cleverly disguised as a chocolate eclair, only it wasn't, because pies are not octopus. Well, he said, after ensuring that there was not a pie hidden in a package of assorted danishes. It appears we are out of pies now, aren't we? And I said, yes, it appears you do. What the dickens, Greg? He holds up tarts. He says, we have tarts. They're kind of like pies. And I said, yes, you know what, Greg, tarts actually are a lot like pies. They are similar to pies in the same way that babies are similar to adults. Do I look like a baby eater to you, Greg? It was at this point that the woman who actually looked after the fold-up card table that doubles as a bakery came over, and she explained to me that a group of elderly women decided to have a pie walk that day and the bitches were too lazy to bake them themselves. Well, now what am I going to do? Not about to go to a bakery and wet myself. The grocery store has no pies. I have a friend with no teeth who wears oven mitts. His name is Ralphus. He likes to hang on to pies. Ralphus is also a zombie. So I decided I would go and see Ralphus. As I'm walking down the street, I see one of those people that walk around with clipboards, how I despise you, and she walks up to me and she says, excuse me, do you have a moment to talk about? And I says, I don't know, do you have a moment to pick up your clipboard? And I slapped it out of her hand and I kept on walking. And now you're like, well, no, it was unnecessary. No, it wasn't. I used to be full of ideals. I used to think I could change the world. I once protested a vegan... I, Wilma Fingersdew, in your pants, once protested a vegan restaurant for not having a meat option on the menu. Do you know how many people signed my petition? None. Because when meat eaters walk into restaurants that don't serve meat, they don't walk into them, they go somewhere else. Disillusionment indeed. So I decided to go see Ralphus, and I would see if Ralphus was hanging on to any pies, because, well, he quite likes to hold on to pies, you see. He used to be a baker. He used to bake me my pies. I never had to worry about finding pies, because whenever I had a craving for pie, I would just call Ralphus, and I would say, Ralphus, I need a pie. And Ralphus would make me a pie, because Ralphus knew the kinds of pies I liked. Then one day I called Ralphus up and I said, Ralphus, I'm craving pie. And he said, well, that's funny, because I'm brains of brains of brains. I said, Ralphus, I don't know what you think you said, but it's not what you said. And he said, hey, well, I'll eat some brains then. Well, won't I? Brains of brains. Why don't you come over with your freshly cooked brains and we'll pie some brains? I said, Ralphus, I am concerned for you. What you are saying, Ralphus, it concerns me. I am concerned for you. And he said, oh, don't be brains about me. Just brains your brains. So I went to see my born-again Satanist friend to ask his advice. And I found him sitting alone in a coffee shop that he bought for the sole purpose of having a coffee shop to sit alone in. And he sat at a table drinking coffee, black coffee, black like his soul. Well, he voraciously devoured sesame seed bagel. Luciferians are many things. And one of the things they are is a warrior in a holy crusade against the sesame seed. For if the sesame seed left to its own devotions, it will grow into a sesame street, now won't it, yes? Before you know it, we have 12-foot pigeons that are clearly high on the LSD. You go to throw your litter in a trash can and you are accosted by a monster. 1, 2, Go back to your own country. They sat down at the table, counterclockwise. For my born-again Satanist, we never sit at the same table, because he likes to sit at the table alone and drink his coffee, his black coffee, black like his soul. So I sat at the table counterclockwise to him, drinking my coffee, black like my soul. And I told him that I was concerned about Ralphus, that I had called him, and that what he had said had concerned me. My born-again Satanist said to me, well, yeah, you got bit by a zombie the other week. What did you think was going to happen? I said, sweet Jesus in a bush bar. Canoe man, why did nobody tell me this? He said it was all over the Twitter. I like Ralphus. We have a history. We go way back. You see, my mother and his mother were both mothers. We went to different high schools together. We never played slow pitch against each other, but we did play slow pitch. Didn't like the idea of a world without Ralphus. So I grabbed my born-again Satanist friend's wicked rock guitar, and I went and smashed all Ralphus's teeth out. Because if a zombie can't bite you, it can't infect you. I then put oven mitts on his hands, because if a zombie can't claw at you, it can't claw at you. And we put a pie in his hand to remind him of the times when he was a pie maker. And this seems to satisfy Ralphus. There is some part of him that remembers the times when he made pies and his pies made the world happy. And we hold out hope that someday Ralphus will be one of us again. We eagerly wait for the day that Ralphus poops. It's one of the things that interests us is, Ralphus has to eat something, clearly, and, rest assured knowing we only kill the hobos that deserve it. But when we feed Ralphus, and this isn't just a Ralphus thing, this is a zombie in general thing. Have you ever noticed that when a 200-pound zombie eats a 200-pound man, it doesn't become a 400-pound zombie? A zombie, in theory, should only be able to eat one person before it would explode. It would just be a pile of rotted flesh. Because a 200-pound body cannot support 400 pounds of weight. Where is everything that the zombies is eating going? Do they poop? Because if they poop, that means the digestive tract works. And if they don't poop and they don't explode due to their frames not being able to hold the weight of the food in which they have consumed, then that means they are converting that food into an energy source. And in either case, whether they poop or whether they convert, there is an internal structure that is working. Their vital organs are functioning. These people are not dead, they are diseased. This is a sickness. This is not some super phantasmagorical paranormal in your... They are humans, damn you. We just need to treat them a little differently. Like how we treat Ralphus. So I get over to Ralphus's, and he's standing by the window, holding a pie. It is an apple pie. I'm not really a fan of apple pie. My father, you see, my father enjoyed apple pie, and, well, I never enjoyed my father, now did I? It's not that he was a bad man, he just wasn't particularly a good man, at least not to me. He was, however, a famous man. For you see, years before he lost his mind in LSD, my father was a famous musician. For those of you who remember cassettes, there was a sound that a cassette made on the start of side 1 and the end of side 2 to let you know that the recording was either starting or finishing. It was a very bizarre sound. It sounded nothing like that. My father invented that sound and it made him a millionaire. And then he discovered LSD and he blew out his mind. My mother was no better. Truth be told, I'm not even sure she knew she was my mother. I did, however, have a sister that they found at a Walmart. And my father had a fondness for the bongo drums, and he had a fondness for ducks. And every day of my life, my father would say to me, "Eat, bitch! Why don't you come over here and I'll bow." Because it sexually arouses me. I'm gonna my bongo while you draw me a duck. And I would draw him ducks and he would bow my bongo.
Don't bother trying to get out of here. You'll never get out of here.
Every day of my life I drew ducks while my father booed his bongo. Once he asked my maybe baby sister, whom was found at a Walmart, to draw him a duck. She did a terrible job and he never asked her again. The thought never occurred to me. I can't look at an apple pie without thinking about ducks. And I can't think about ducks without thinking about my bongo. In your pants. I just want a pie. And I don't have a punchline. Cookies for you, will my fingers do, space giraffe, inappropriate interruptions.